Hi everyone, Elizabeth here. So I've been offline a lot, even not even online, social media wise much. Been off the news, and I just wanted to share some thoughts in regards to kind of how living in Germany, hiking the Camino, and just a lot of traveling abroad has changed my perspective about guns. I had no clue a school shooting even happened until somebody sent me something like 24 hours after it happened, and I was like, oh, I've like really been out of my bubble. I think so many things have been so damaging to mental health that it's just, I've been in and out of these flows of breaks on certain things. And you know, before I left for Germany, I was 29 years old and I was involved in a ton of spiritual communities out here in Seattle, and I kind of thought that we were on our way to the age of Aquarius, kind of, that uniting brotherhood energy where we're all going to be holding hands around the globe, and there'll never be another Republican president ever again. And then I moved to Germany, and all this stuff happened in 2015, and I kind of went through this like massive awakening, and I thought, wow, I've been asleep. I've been like in a coma for 30 years. Like waking up to all the programming. I mean, I've always been kind of awake, but I mean, the real understanding of, specifically when you get deeper into stuff like with Freemasons, just understanding a lot of things aren't prediction. A lot of it is programming, but on a very deep level. And the one thing I will say about living in Europe and living in Germany was that I very much understood that the German people, a lot of Europeans as well, have a better grip with their culture, but also with their mental health. They live in the old world. It's an old world experience where you live a more natural, more social type of lifestyle. I lived in the old town in Hanover, in Altstadt, and I would, if you walked out of Old Town and just took a left, there was kind of a outdoor store. It was more of like your Cabela type of store. Everything there was pretty much still on a small business level. So it wasn't like a department store. It was just a small business outdoor shop. And in the window were guns. I walked by that shop probably almost every single day that I was in Germany for a year and a half. And I never had issues with the German people, never had any problems with the men. We never had any crimes. The only major crime that happened was after the migration crisis, that somebody planted a couple bombs in the Hanover soccer stadium and in the Hauptbahnhof, in the train station. So with Germany and Europeans living a more natural life, their television was different. However, I noticed throughout my time of going back to Germany in 2016, 17, 18, there was kind of this degeneration process of their culture because we have been exporting our culture to other parts of the country. So I saw the increase of obesity, the increase of consumption of American food. No longer were German little sausage stands, sausage restaurants opening. Everything was like a burger and french fry shop. So everything started becoming more Americanized, and with the more Americanized Germany, the culture started to decrease, in addition to whatever cultural shifts happened in 2015. So what is my point about the gun thing? I just think that there is some mental sanity that has been evolved in cultures like in Germany. Obviously they live like the German way, so it can be very robotic. That can also not be a positive. However, that type of lifestyle, Europe and countries like, basically let's just say Europe has been through thousands of years of hectic living. So now they've come to points of being highly civilized, but being highly civilized also comes from being in a culture that is predominantly in control of their mindset. I'm telling you, the people operate differently. If there is any sort of like deviancy or hedonism, it was just more of a smaller scale, and that smaller scale was kept in a more private manner. Like, you would go to like Sisyphos nightclub to go into these like dirty orgy acts or whatever like that. So it just was on a smaller scale. When I moved back from Germany, I had a massage therapist who was originally from Switzerland, moved with her mother as a teenager to New Mexico, and basically lived like for the rest of her adult life here in the United States, and eventually left New Mexico to Seattle. And her exact words were, America is so mentally fucked up because of all the shit that the parents let their kids watch with the video games and the porn and all of that. So why are we as a country not talking about or taking responsibility for what we have done to the breeding of this younger generation? All you have to do is basic analytics. Look at the greatest generation. I work with senior citizens, greatest generation, baby boomers, millennials, whatever else is down the road, and you will see we have bred a different type of human being. These kids today are not even human. Because they have been raised predominantly with technology and the internet, and this has exposed them to a completely different world that other generations have not been a part of. The greatest generation and the boomers, that generation has issues like millennials have problems as well. Neither generation is ever perfect. However, baby boomers and the greatest generation, a lot of what they were brought up with were a lot of community and family values. And those things can be very relevant, or can be very, we can use those qualities of the light side of that generation and really put it to application of what's happening today, because apparently living a too individualistic lifestyle is just it's not working. So when I hiked the Camino de Santiago, I ran into a couple hunters. I was completely by myself in this part of Portugal, and I ran into two hunters with rifles pointed out into the woods, and they had their dog. And at first I was like, ooh, like it kind of took me aback, but there was just brief exchange of pleasantry, like very nice smiles, like, hi, how you doing? Have a good day. If those men were messed up mentally, they had full capability of harming me, especially because I was out in the middle of nowhere. I did not speak their language. They were mentally in control, and that's what a lot of Europeans are, mentally in control. And why is this? It's because they did not raise their children on the internet, on Netflix, on video games. Nobody takes the subconscious mind seriously, because most people don't even know what the subconscious mind is. They think it's probably like some fairy tale because they're so indoctrinated by the movies. When you look at movies from like the 90s, Hollywood movies at some point were like forms of art. They were also forms of programming as well. However, stupid humor movies and things like horror novel and dystopian movies kind of rarely existed back then. They were in the very minority. Now when you turn on the TV, all of this stuff is the majority. Reality TV, violence, blow it up stuff. The blow it up stuff is the fast food for the mind. It's like feeding the slave mind, the lower mind that just is like in survival mode. There's nothing higher to that type of thing. You have a lot of dystopian movies, sci-fi, all of this stuff is now the majority. The actual art forms of movies were like the minority. A movie like Little Women, I know like for some people if they're like, oh God, the Victorian era thing, but like if you watch a movie like that, I watched that at Christmas and it kind of made me cry, because it was just like, it was like a form of art that came kind of from like God, basically. It was just this beautiful story of this family, and they were all together. And now it's like, when you compare something like that to what the hell is happening today, how we all hate our parents, we hate the country we live in, it's a completely different shift of a reality in a society. So America needs to start taking some responsibility for, or start asking some questions of what's going on. Other parts of the globe just don't naturally adopt all of this sensational instant gratification type of media, not even just talking news, but social media and movies and television shows that is just constantly bombarding you with violence and sex and murder and theft and burglary. It's all lower mind driven lizard brain stuff. Europeans are slowly, and the world is slowly becoming more like this because they're adopting, and their leaders in their country are starting to create shows and all of this stuff like that. Look up, I wanted to do a video about this like a year and a half ago, and I just never did. Look up John Dillerman. Dillerman in, I think it's Dutch or Danish, is penis man. John Dillerman. Look that up on YouTube. It is a man with a big, long penis who does things with his big penis. So he's a man that will cook little burgers with his penis. He will clean his house and vacuum with his penis because his penis is like 5 feet long. Why the fuck are they showing that stuff to age 3 to 7-year-old kids? At what point, how demoralized do you have to be like, what the fuck is going on? I don't want to swear because this is part of the programming that is really bad, but at some point you just get so mad. Like, what trash do you just allow to go into a child's brain? You want to know what the creators of John Dillerman said? It's about body image. It's about being comfortable with your body. Really? Because I personally think that when a 3 to 7-year-old, the show targets, I believe, 3 to 7-year-olds, when a 3 to 7-year-old boy or girl, let's just say girl, stands in front of a grown man whose penis gets really big. You gotta remember, children are always in a world of imagination. Who has a big penis? A grown man. Does that not like send red flags or signals about potential pedophiles that are trying to prey on young people? So let's indoctrinate a bunch of kids that like, oh, a big penis is super cool. Like we can do things. And what is this pedophile going to do? Have like a little kid start painting with his penis? You know what I mean? It's like, oh, you touch it, it grows. Like, let's think about this. You don't have to have a PhD to fucking analyze and figure some things out. Just asking basic, simple, critical questions. This is my Virgo moon is constantly going off because we've become so demoralized in this country, so mentally messed up because we've adopted Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, adopted every single tool. Even the woke crowd, they're the most narcissistic individuals they have. It's like their routine is getting online and shouting every single day. That's narcissism. When you want to be heard and have your way of thinking, be the one and only way, that is a scale of narcissism. I'm not saying these people are dangerous. Not all narcissists are dangerous. There's a spectrum here, but things have gotten out of control, and it's gotten out of control because the majority of what's out there is dark, demonic, shitty stuff that has slowly been breaking down the minds and the spirits of American. In addition, when you watch a bunch of junk, what do? You want to feed yourself a bunch of junk. We have lost the value of quality. We have lost the value of the meaning of life in this country. America's not what it used to be. America's not a bunch of badass World War II people wanting, to preserve the freedom from some psychopath murdering a bunch of people. That doesn't even exist. I'm not even going to talk about the Rockefeller, propaganda on that. But if you just look at it from a basic standpoint of that, and people still adopt these tools. That's the thing that irritates the shit out of me in America, is that people still, I don't want to get fat, but I'll still eat McDonald's. Oh yeah, no problem. No worries that it's just like the most satanic company that has ever existed, that has just abuses animals, have lied about either French fries being vegetarian or vegan when they really weren't. They were like baked in pig fats or some, or dipped in pig fat. I can't remember. It's something that happened a long time ago. But, it's like people worked for slave wages. Now they're just replacing humans with technology. I got a sponsored post today from Qatar Airlines meeting the new metaverse airline hostess. So great. Yeah, now we're not going to have airline hostesses on our fucking planes anymore eventually, because they're all going to be replaced with like laser beam metaverse air hostesses or whatever the hell their names are. It's just a weird world we're living in, and why are we not talking about it? Why are we not getting mad? The reason why I'm not online and not doing a bunch of these videos is because I am rejecting social media. It is like literally like I get on and I'm like, ugh, like I just want to vomit. My body and my soul is rejecting it. So, you know, it's like you either use it for a productive use or you just try to start to ignore it. But living in these other countries, oh, I will say this too. When I went to Boston in 2016, you know, the woman I went to Bunker Hill and she did a demonstration of one of the muskets. And so she was just saying, like, back in the day in the 1700s in the American Revolution, like, you were taught that this tool was, I'm not the word is not sacred. It was just like you were taught the responsibilities of handling this musket, and this musket had the capability of harming other people. And so when she said that, it was like all the pieces of the puzzle started coming together, which is like why people in Europe don't act the way they do. It's a lot of it, they're just not, the basic, simple, simplistic thing is they are not as indoctrinated and programmed, and they don't have a bunch of shit pumping through their brain like America has. They live a natural life, they live a social life, they eat real food. The European Union has strict food laws. That all kind of went down the shitter after Monsanto and Bayer merged. So a lot of things are changing because this globalization type of process is not that good for any of us. But yet we still keep plugging along thinking we're just going to hold hands and shit's just going to change. It's like, I don't know. Do we need a revolution? My God, maybe. Not sure. Don't want one, but might have to happen. So we have to start asking questions. Why? Why? Every time I've taken a walk in this fucking city for the last 8 years, I've just seen moms, rich ass moms with their bob strollers pushing kids, 1 2-year-olds, boop, 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 poking around on a television screen. I was going to before COVID, I was going to like called church, open church, or home church. I don't know. It was like a home church, basically. You have church in someone's house and you do a bunch of dinner. And the wife of the pastor, like, she's just like, oh, they're super liberal. Like, liberalism and being religious just doesn't go hand in hand to me. It's just being like oil and water. But she's just like, oh, I don't know how my child learned this, but my 2-year-old just told me, I hate you, Mom, today. Why is that? Because every time I've been around them, this is judgy, but it's kind of the truth, their child sat on the television screen watching YouTube. How do you know what the kid was watching the whole time on YouTube? How do you not know that it's not, the kid didn't learn how to say, I hate you, Mom, because in every television show, there's always this stubborn child telling their, rebelling against their parent or telling them they hate them. Or you don't know what these like cartoons from YouTube are showing. There's been a lot of stuff over the last few years that have, things have been exposed from a lot of these cartoons that have been online that are, teaching children bad things, or some creepy demonic thing comes up and is like murdering something. I don't know. There was some Sally girl. Like, I can't remember the names of anything because I'm blanking out because I'm on the spot, but I'm just saying, when I've lived abroad and certain traveling tools have changed my perspective on guns, especially while learning history. When you learn history about, look at what happened to Australia. And, it's like, you can't fight back when things hit the fan at like level 10. Like, hopefully we never have to use these tools for any sort of rebellion against governing agencies. But at some point, if you're a pure slave to the system. I don't know. Everything's a mess right now. But all I'm going to say is the mental health in this country is bad. It's been bad, but now it's like, oh my God, it's getting really bad. So we don't have a respect for life. We don't have a respect for ourselves in this country, especially the way we physically abuse ourselves with food and gluttony. We cannot expect anything different to happen. Like that's, we can't expect anything different until we start rejecting the things that are harming us. People want to blame the unvaccinated for spreading a virus because that's what they're programmed to believe in. But they know social media and they know fast food and Coca-Cola and all that is harmful for them. But guess what? They still use it because that's just what America does. They just keep blaming, but they don't ever want to take responsibility or actually like critically think and be like, wow, you know what, I'm kind of wrong here. And just take control and say goodbye, Facebook. You've been fun, but you know what? You are not going to take control of my mental health anymore. Anyways, random thoughts. Not even sure if I got to the point of anything on this video, but I just wanted to share that really, I think the old world cultures that have been in existence for thousands of years, who have been through hell and back in their own countries, have a better grip due to the fact that they've been through a lot of hardship and struggle. And they also don't adopt all of these things. The internet, social media has just been a gateway to whatever. I'll share this one other thing and then I'm going to leave to tell you how different children are today. One of my antique friends is friends with a bus driver. And this bus driver drives predominantly middle school and high school kids. And so she told him that she catches girls giving boys blowjobs on the public bus, and these boys are just watching porn on their phone on the bus on the way to school and from school. I was like, a girl is giving, literally like a 14-year-old girl is giving a blowjob on a bus. She catches these people all the time. To me, as like, if I'm thinking like 15, I was like, wow, I was just like really involved in tennis. Maybe I'm just more innocent-minded. I don't know. But all I'm saying is, like, at what point do you not realize, like, this is a problem? One last example, and then I got to go because I have to teach class. I used to work for a gym. They shut down, ironically, a month before COVID happened. And there was one lady that showed up to a class. So it was kind of like a personal training session when we got to talking. And she was saying that her daughter, who's 18 years old, her boyfriend just broke up with her and she was really devastated. And I was like, oh no, what happened? Basically, he pulled out a calendar, and on the calendar, it was a 90 days worth, it's 3 months of a calendar that he pulled out. And he marked the X on every day that they had sex. It wasn't enough for him. It was only a few times a month. First of all, knowing that about your 18-year-old daughter, you'd be like, oh my God. So he broke up with her because they didn't have enough sex. These were like high school students, high school seniors. Unbelievable. So let's just keep asking ourselves, like, let's just keep going down this rabbit hole and keep asking questions. Like, have we gone too far? Yeah, we have. We've gone way too far. Now we're seeing the consequences. Alrighty, bye-bye.